Important Quant, Hedera, and MATIC update.
This is everything you need to know about your 3 favorite projects.
Welcome to the Bean Pod. This is your place for all things stocks and crypto. From beginner tips to expert picks. Use this as fuel for your investing journey, because when you're in the know, your money will grow.
This episode of the Bean Pod is sponsored by KyberSwap.
KyberSwap is a DEX and DEX aggregator which is built to facilitate all your DeFi needs in one single platform.
Fast, cheap, and safe.
User experience is KyberSwap's sole focus to make everyone's life better in DeFi. Welcome to the Bean Pod. This is Shane, aka the Jolly Green Investor.
And this is Josh, the Nifty Investor.
Today we have huge updates for Quant, Hedera Hashgraph, and Polygon MATIC.
These seem to be everybody's favorite projects. And, if you're not constantly paying attention to what's going on with altcoins, what's happening in the market, then you tend to forget about, hey, what's Quant up to right now? What's MATIC up to right now? What's Hedera up to right now? There's a lot of interesting developments that is occurring with these companies. And I think we should highlight them in a very brief episode here just to keep bringing everybody up to speed.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Things can get, catalysts and big news and partnerships can get lost in the bear market. Everyone's focusing on the Fed and Bitcoin crashing and FTX collapsing and regulations, blah, blah, blah. But if you keep an eye on your favorite projects, you can see the catalysts and partnerships that are being built when no one's looking. And I think that's actually the best time to do it. So that's why it's important to not only watch this episode, but keep liking and subscribing because we're going to keep bringing these updates to you.
Absolutely. So let's start off with Quant. If you haven't noticed, there's been a lot of discussion around CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. And it seems as though there is a movement towards these, and it was inevitable that this was going to happen. You can't just have all these projects running willy-nilly and the government not getting their share of the pie or controlling the way you spend your money. So there's something I saw, where was it, Nigeria or something?
That is crazy.
What was that? It's like you couldn't withdraw more than $250 in a week in an effort to force people to start using these CBDCs.
Yeah.
There was something else in Spain where they were starting to roll out their CBDC as well as like a test pilot program. In fact, today, over 50 countries are in advanced phase of exploration of CBDCs, and 19 of the G20 countries are considering their digital currency.
Ew. Yeah, like I don't necessarily agree with it, but that's not what we don't have an impact on what happens. All we're trying to do is play the trends of the world.
Right.
So it's not that I personally agree with CBDCs. I think that it's going to lead to government control, which is long-term not good for the human society. But we're here to make good investing plays, and we need to read between the lines and look at companies like Quant, which are now, as we both have, getting into this.
So they just partnered with a company called UST. It's a leading digital transformation solutions company to provide technical integration and tokenization services to central and commercial banks.
Yeah.
And capital market participants. So what's going to end up happening is Spain will come out with their own CBDC, Nicaragua will, the US will, etc. But they're all going to have their own way of doing things, the same way we all have our own little currencies now. What's going to end up happening is all these currencies are going to need to interact with one another. And that's where the distributed ledger technology that Quant has, which is proprietary technology, will come into play. And this could be this will be a technology that's actually used with the government and, all these CBDCs.
Yeah, I think it's huge. And it's one of the reasons that we've been talking about Quant for so long and so consistently is because not that we predicted this was going to happen, but we knew that the interoperability of Quant's overledger was going to be a huge game changer for enterprises and now governments. So here's a quote from this partnership. Also, it's kind of funny that it's named UST, which is like the stable coin.
I saw the partnership. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's like, oops. Anyway, a side note, UST, they do $1.5 billion in revenue a year. Mm-hmm. Big company. So the quote is, the partnership facilitates the issuance of central bank digital currencies, digital money in the form of commercial stablecoins, and digital securities onto major distributed ledger networks. So it's exactly where the world is going. And Quant has now partnered with this multi-billion-dollar company to make it happen. And I'm sure you've been on the company's website. They work in every sector: healthcare, manufacturing, public, retail, semiconductors, telecom. They're across everything. So yes, they're partnering with UST for this CBDC trial rollout, but the potential for this kind of way that everything's moving in all these industries they work with, this partnership is massive and no one's talking about it.
Yeah, because tokenization for all commercial enterprises, right?
Yep.
There's also some other stuff that we highlighted before with the smart cities and all that stuff, which is quite interesting. And then Elon Musk's tweet, the how he talked about a hyper-connected world. And, Twitter will become a payment system at some point. And I think Quant will eventually work itself into, that's very speculative, but it's kind of what I believe.
Yeah, I think Quant's on the right track, and I didn't see really anyone talking about this big piece of news. If we were in a bull market, this is the kind of partnership and news announcement that would make a token fly.
Yeah.
So we're in a bear market. Quant tends to kind of move on its own. It's not maybe the most correlated with Bitcoin, like maybe like a Polygon MATIC or a Cardano, but it's interesting. So that was kind of the big news that I had for Quant. You have anything else?
No, it was primarily just I think the UST partnership kind of got glanced over in the overall market, just the way things have been going. Okay. And definitely need to be highlighted.
Cool. So let's save Hedera for last, and we'll move on to Polygon MATIC. Okay. So this is, every second, every week, every month, you see Polygon MATIC making more partnerships. And not just any partnerships. They're partnering with some of the biggest and most recognizable brands in the world. And they've done it again just recently in the past couple of weeks. They've created a joint venture, or they've been chosen as the technology for the joint venture between LGND Legend Music and Warner Music Group. So what they're doing is basically building a music and entertainment NFT platform, and they've chosen Polygon MATIC.
Of course. It's Ethereum seems to be one of the biggest, best blockchains out there. And Polygon MATIC makes everything fast, cheap, right, et cetera. So if Ethereum has some of the biggest enterprises building on it, and then you have the layer 2 solution like Polygon, it just seems like a natural partnership, right?
Yeah, you would always select Polygon because it's just way cheaper to operate on.
Exactly, but you get the security of Ethereum. I think that partnership is really important because I think, I'm going to keep saying this over and over and over again, is the fact that NFTs are going to be much bigger than we ever think. It started off with the crazy monkey pictures, which it's so simple because everybody understands a picture. So I thought it was really easy to bring people in. I think the next evolution of NFTs will be in the music industry. I think that's the next step, and it seems pretty easy for it to occur. And I think there's such a benefit to both, not only the artists, but also the listeners as well. And that's where it's going to go next. So I think that's a huge partnership.
Yeah. So this is the way that I think they're going to roll this partnership out long term. So we've discussed our love for Chili's in the past, and we made the call 2 months before the World Cup. We said, look, Chili's is the sports fan token blockchain, and it ripped into the World Cup. It was a buy the rumor, sell the news event, as we predicted. But I think this two partnership is so under the radar between Polygon and Legend Music and Warner Music Group, because I believe they're going to try to recreate the sports fan token ecosystem for music. So what they're going to do is allow creators, artists, and musicians in this regard to potentially launch their own tokens, and then fans can buy, you can buy Deadmau5 token, buy David Guetta token, right? So they've already partnered with Spinnin' Records, who is the largest electronic dance music label in the world. And I think what they're going to do is roll this out so you can buy your favorite musician coin. And then as their songs get more popular and they start touring and all this kind of stuff, if you hold X amount of coin, you get VIP access. You get to meet David Guetta. Just like if you hold X amount of Barcelona coin, you can vote on their jerseys, right? Yeah. This is the vision I have for it personally, and I've seen some rumors floating, and I think this would go off.
I also think I'm just trying to think back to we discussed so many projects and whatnot. I believe in our previous MATIC episode, there was something to do with a Spotify partnership as well, with Showtime. I think it was a Showtime Spotify. Right. So maybe we get Warner Music, Spotify, and it all starts happening pretty quick. Yeah. On Spotify, and we're just buying these music NFTs real soon. Another thing to highlight is the Reddit avatars hit 4.4 million on Polygon. Right. Active developers have just reached an all-time high on Polygon as well. The only thing that makes me stand away from Polygon at the moment, even with all these amazing partnerships, etc., is the fact that they raised $450 million last year through venture capital firms. So it was 2 weeks ago, they released the first batch of one of three, the vesting distribution of these tokens. It was interesting because it's a 3-year unlock period, but you'll notice that MATIC was really running around to like $1.20, pretty convenient. And then the release of the tokens came out, the price dropped 50% to 90 cents or so.
Right. So, we're always looking at tokenomics. We're always looking at lockups and vesting schedules. So that is a great spot. I didn't spot that, but that's something to definitely, if you're thinking about, dollar cost averaging into MATIC over the bear market, that is something you want to watch out for.
Keep an eye out, just because this is, what this does, it's a $500 million pretty much. They're going to survive the bear market. They're going to make it through all this, and they're seeing adoption real world. It's just, if you're going to try to invest in it, I would just keep an eye on how these tokens are being invested of this $500 million, because it'll affect the price.
For sure. One stat that I saw about Polygon that, I think now that we've talked about Polygon so much, we cover it consistently. This is definitely a blue chip. It's one of my favorite large cap altcoins, no doubt. And one of the things I've been doing lately more is looking at DApp radar and looking at metrics to see how many people are actually using the dApps on certain blockchains. So Polygon now ranks second out of all cryptocurrencies for daily active users, next after Ethereum, 412,000 daily active users across their dApps. So only Ethereum has more. That's pretty impressive. I think one of the reasons that the popularity of their dApps is rising so fast is they had this space-based play-to-earn game called Planet IX. I guess that's 11, Planet 11, which launched.
IX9, I think.
Is it 9?
Yeah.
IX9, okay.
Yeah.
Planet 9. So Planet 9 launched, and it has tons of users flooding in. Interesting to note, their token is in the pits.
Huh.
So Planet 9 could be a little bit of a hidden gem.
I actually want to play the game now.
Yeah, it's a space-based turn strategy game.
Yeah.
It looks, I had a look at the website, looks pretty cool. So it's nice to see that you don't always associate Polygon with play-to-earn games, but they've obviously got that going. I also saw that the Sandbox, one of the biggest Metaverse projects, even if we don't love it, launched their NFTs on Polygon over the last month, which again has contributed to their daily active users.
And they also, there was just on this play to earn, et cetera, a partner with Magic Eden. It's a leading cross-chain NFT marketplace to support the move into Metaverse gaming. So
right, because Magic Eden started out as a Solana marketplace, and now I guess they're going to Polygon as well, because Solana kind of shitty.
Yeah.
All right, so that's kind of what we got for Polygon, unless you have anything else.
No, that's it.
All right, well, let's move on to everyone's favorite project, Hedera Hashgraph.
How can it not be?
Yeah, look, we love Hedera. We love our HBAR. So if you follow Hedera on Twitter, what have you noticed they've been doing a lot lately, which they weren't doing?
They've definitely been retweeting a lot about this gem that we have highlighted in the past, and that's Sausage Swap. Yeah,
so you've been talking about Sausage Swap for a while now, but now Hedera is really starting to pump it. So Sausage Swap, if you haven't heard from us before, is the first and native DEX, or decentralized exchange, built on Hedera. So it's kind of starting to pop up a little bit more.
I found it really interesting is the fact that there was a publication that came out where Sausage Swap, they did a live video about how fast the transactions occurred, and they did like the DEX on Cardano, and they did all these other different DEXs, and it was like 10 times faster than any other DEX. That's because it's built on Hedera, right? So Hedera is the greenest proof of stake network. This is a UCL Center for Blockchain Tech independent study. It's 9,000 times less energy than ETH 2.0 and 120 times more energy efficient than Visa. Their transaction times are also the fastest in the industry as well. So when you're looking at a DEX that is green, but also is the fastest, and now Hedera is starting to pump it for single-sided staking, I think this Sausage Swap DEX had like over $20 million staked, or total value locked, in the first hour.
Wow.
Of the staking occurring. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, really impressive. And not only that, they've amended their token listing process, which I saw recently. So I guess it was either a little bit clunky or not efficient or non-transparent for the way that they were listing tokens. So it kind of held up the expansion of the DEX, but they've redone the process, which makes it easier for projects to submit all their documents to get listed, and then also more transparent for end users to see I think maybe they're vetting projects more. So they're improving their process of getting more tokens on there, which you need to have, because there's not a ton on there because it's super fresh. I mean,
super new.
It's also very difficult to purchase. It's only on
MXC.
It's only on MXC, or if you want to download the Hashpack wallet, get HBAR, put it in the Hashback wallet, connect to Saucer Swap, and switch for Saucer.
That's what I did originally before it got listed.
Yeah.
So I bought a bunch of tokens before it even went public.
But yeah, that's what we talk about, these gems before they get listed on big exchanges, because hopefully in a year or 2 years, Saucer Swap is on a lot of major exchanges. And when you heard us talk about it back in December or January of 2022, 2023, it was on nothing. And now at that point, it's on every exchange, and you can see the volume and the price is a lot higher. So that's why we keep uncovering these gems for you guys and girls, because we like to get in early.
That's right. So I personally have a Hashback wallet, and this is something you're going to need for. It was recently announced that the biggest metaverse that will ever be hitting the markets, the Otherverse, is launching on Hedera. This is a project that has been in development. Their Web 2 version, at least, has been around for 17, 18 years. Obviously, they've been hashing it out, knowing that Web 3 was eventually going to roll out. This is going to be a absolutely massive market from an advertising perspective. This is where big brands and big commerce is going to end up going inside of to market. It's going to be absolutely huge. The fact that this is very, very smart for them to choose Hedera, because it's super fast, super reliable, excellent ecosystem. So Otherverse is launching on Hedera.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a massive catalyst for both Otherverse, joining the rabid Hedera ecosystem, but also for Hedera for the launch of what we think is the best looking metaverse. We always talk about Decentraland, Sandbox, cartoony, Lego-y, the real metaverse where you're going to buy things and host meetings and go to music events. It's not going to be in some cartoony Lego block world. You're going to want it to look as real and as mirrored to the real world as possible, as crazy as that you can imagine what it will be. Yeah. But the Otherverse is the only one I've ever seen that actually looks real. Sure, the graphics aren't as good as your newest PS5 game, but that's not the point of it. The point of the social aspect, they're going to be hosting music events, weddings, conferences, everything in this Otherverse with this massive e-commerce backbone, which is built on Hedera. So that is going to be I think their pre-sale is happening now.
Yeah.
And the launch of the token will be next year. So if you haven't been looking at Otherverse, check them out. And yeah, we love it because it's on Hedera.
Yeah. So man, if you can get it on the pre-sale, then you're lucky.
Yeah, that could be a good one.
Another thing that happened on Hedera as well is they appointed 2 new members to their executive team. I thought it's interesting to at least highlight. So they have a new chief of staff and head of global policy. This person was the director at the White House for National Security Council. So they obviously have some government ties. So something I'd look at. And they're formerly on the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee as well, and has experience at Meta as one of the executives.
Always nice to see projects adding very experienced people from large corporations.
And then one more I want to add is the fact that they have this company called Drop that is now integrated with Hedera. So Hedera is really starting to pick up steam now. It seems like the more announcements, they're doing more things, right? Especially front end stuff that people are not even going to realize that's built on Hedera. So with Drop, for example, I'm just going to read it from the Twitter. What if every like was a payment? With Drop, they can be. And our WordPress plugin, very important to understand this because 40% of websites are WordPress. So half the websites you're going to be using, at least building in the future, that are going to be using Drop. You won't even know it, but it's built using Hedera in a fully customizable way. Customize what your like button looks like and how much the automatic payment is from your supporters. So basically, using Drop, you can now build a WordPress website. You can put on a diamond, for example, like Diamond app for DSO. People can just press this button on your WordPress website and start donating to you or collecting funds that way. That is done through Hedera.
Cool. I like Hedera getting, we've been preaching Web3 social media for a long time now. We think it's going to be one of the hypiest trends of the next bull run. So it's nice to see Hedera kind of making inroads into that sector. I love it. That's kind of all I have for those 3 tokens. I feel like, again, under the radar partnerships, under the radar moves are being made every month. So if you like these kind of things that people aren't talking about, make sure to like and subscribe.
And then tune into the next episode.
That one's going to be a banger.
All views expressed by speakers on the BeanPod are solely their opinions. You should not treat any opinion expressed on the BeanPod as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or follow a specific strategy, but only as an expression of their opinion. This podcast is for informational purposes only.